Donk Nation, Jackson, Janice, greetings and welcome to your daily dose of Donkey with Ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey. I will bring you some Steelers talk this week since that's what it's going to be about. It's what do you want to call this? The boring week, the award show week, the flag football Pro Bowl week. But it's the new Steeler offensive coordinator week. Lasker's Gingy, and there might even be a Zoidberg here. But before I get to you, I just want to let you guys know, because I'm going to rip on this pretty hard, but I think Arthur Smith is a pretty good coordinator of a run-first based football team. And I think he did a decent job when he was in Tennessee, not so much Atlanta. But boy, oh boy, Gingy, do I hate this hire. How you doing, though?
Newton Gingy in the house, pre-Super Bowl week, Pro Bowl week, guys showing out. We're hanging in there, Donkey, you know? I don't know how I feel about this offensive core. I'm still processing, right? I see some good, I see some things. I'm ready to talk about it, though. Laskers,
before we get to you, Trey Essex said this puts a hard cap on how good your team can be. Oh, Laskers, say it ain't so. I don't like hard caps or hard ceilings. Okay, fine. Laskers is out. Zoidy, we'll go straight to you with it. What do you feel, Arthur Smith? Is it a hard cap on the Steelers in terms of offensive production they're going to see?
I don't know about a hard cap, Donkey, but the offense is going to be a little bit limited in the pass game. He's a run-first kind of guy. But he's had success elsewhere. I mean, the Tennessee Titans threw 33 touchdowns last year. So, maybe there's no cap on this offense.
Made Ryan Tannehill look real good.
The cap that was talked about more was not what you're going to do in the regular season, but that it's not going to work in the playoffs. But Laskers, I see you're back, so let's get into there. Let's get into the talk with you. The Steelers and Mike Tomlin promised us this extensive search to see what all the football knowledge was about out there. And 3 candidates in, we hire the guy I said was going to get hired from day one because you knew he's a run, pass type of guy. Really believe that the Steelers flipped every stone in this search?
Oh, hopefully I can stay in this one, but I'm not sure because, it keeps dropping out. But no, I definitely don't think we extensively searched. But hey, we hired outside of the organization.
That's true. And Gingy, let's talk about the candidates the Steelers interviewed that we knew of. One of them actually caught my interest because Gerard Johnson was a guy who worked with C.J. Stroud, and we saw how good he was his rookie year. So I was like, hey, look, a pass innovative guy. That could be a really cool thing to see. The second guy was the dude from Carolina, At least he worked with Sean McVay at one point, but led the worst offense. And let's be honest here, Bryce Young did not seem to advance under his tutelage. So, oh boy, fun there. And then third, we get to the one, the only Arthur Smith. He's a guy who, Tannehill had success there. But remember, Tannehill was mediocrely successful, at least quarterback when he went into Miami. Don't forget the first year, he was terrible in getting anything out of Marcus Mariota when he was there in Tennessee. I have a little bit of concern with Arthur Smith, and it's mainly look at the weapons Atlanta had, look at the quarterbacks he's had. He has not really shown any success developing a quarterback, and unless our goal here is to get Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson, which it doesn't sound like it is, it certainly seems like he'll have to show he can develop a quarterback, and it doesn't sound like the Steelers are bringing in any other big new hires. It's going to be just Arthur Smith is the only change in this whole offense, Gingy.
Well, Donkey, I hear you on that, but here's what I'm thinking, right? I understand
Arthur Smith knows how to use play action, so one up on Canada.
Let's take a look at turning players upside. Time in Atlanta, head coach is different than offensive coordinator. More responsibility, more time, attention divided. If we're talking about his offensive focus at offensive coordinator, I'd like to look at his time in Tennessee. I feel like he made average players look good in a system in which they fit. Right now, granted, they had Derrick Henry.
And A.J. Brown, don't forget, Tannehill was really good until Tennessee traded A.J. Brown, even after losing Arthur Smith.
So even when you're talking about a run-oriented sort of offense, run, pass, right? With a Najee Harris and a George Pickens, why couldn't you emulate a Derrick Henry and an A.J. Brown and put that offense right now where it's at, which is like bottom 10, maybe number 20, and it moves it right up into contention in the AFC.
Because even last year at 31 years old, Derrick Henry had more 30-yard touchdown runs than Najee Harris has seen going back and including his senior year in Alabama. That's the big one.
Under Matt Canada. No,
that's even in college.
What's his run schemes like down? How many times have we commented on Matt Canada's run schemes?
I agree.
Way too many.
But in order to make me believe here that Najee Harris can be anything like the king Derrick Henry, I think you're going to have to get me to smoke something really, really good, hit me in the head, throw me in the cold, halfway drown me to even make me think they're on the same level.
Hey, and I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, if he's ever got a chance to be, it's with him. But sorry, Zoidie, go ahead.
Yeah, two things come to mind for me. First off, this is a team that I thought was more successful when they used the pass to open up the run first off. Is Arthur Smith even capable of doing such a thing? And
no.
The other thought I had is that you guys are really undercutting Warren here. He had in my opinion, he was the better back for most of the year. At the end, Najee Harris did turn it on, but I thought Warren was really the better back most of the year.
I 100% agree with you, but the point I was given to argue with it was Najee Harris becoming Derrick Henry, but I don't see that. And no offense here, I think George Pickens is a really good deep route runner. I think he's successful in that role. But have you ever seen a game where A.J. Brown didn't get any catches? And yeah, we can blame Matt Canada, but even at the end of the year, I think that last Baltimore game, he didn't even get a target because the dude isn't on that level. The dude's like a T. Higgins, right? He's that guy that if he's your second fiddle, you are absolutely stoked that he's your second fiddle. But he's not that guy to be a first fiddle, in my opinion. I just don't think the Steelers have that guy as it is right now. And bigger problem here is there's still a lot of holes on that offense that needs to be fixed if you want to be a run-first team. Because, yeah, you can tell me the stats in that, but tell me the running game the Steelers had against any team that made the playoffs. See, that's where my argument's going to be is, yeah, this team looked good when it ran against Cincinnati with their two best defensive linemen hurt. Yeah, this team looked good against Seattle, which was the worst run defense in football. But this team struggled to run the ball in those games against good teams. You look at the games against Cleveland. You look at the games against Baltimore before they sat all their people in the last week. You look at the game against Houston. Hell, week 1, when we should have been the freshest and most ready to go, we didn't do nothing on the ground against San Francisco. So I'm not sure that leaning into a run-first style of football, Gingy, is where you're going to be successful. When we have shown in the past it hasn't worked. There's a reason the Steelers haven't been in the talk for 7 years, and it's because we run this old, antidated style of football. And my problem with this hiring is this hiring doesn't bring the Steelers into the modern era. It just hires us a guy who's really good at coordinating old school football. And Laskers, do you think that old school football still has a place in 2024?
I definitely don't think old school football has a place in 2024. I mean, we've seen it. We just can't win running the ball first.
That's how I feel. And my argument's always going to be, Gingy, yeah, we had a good year. And yeah, I fully expect this offense to be better next year. But does this offense beat playoff teams, Gingy? That's what I really want to know, and I want you to convince me it does.
I honestly don't think it can because what you're talking about with Artie Smith, right? You're talking about turning an offense into top 15, right? Maybe not new age football, maybe not breaking it down, whatever, but like, right? Is that what you're telling me? Top 15? Top 10-ish is peak potential.
That's where I think we'll end up is between 15 and 10. Yeah, but
great,
does that
fantastic.
win us a
now
playoff game?
Moving forward, I think with the combined splash plays with T.J. Watt on the other side and the defense that's not wore down by having to play 44 minutes of football, for 3/4 of the year is actually capable
a bit of a huge
winning a playoff game.
there.
No, well, maybe a little hyperbole, Donkey, but you understand my point, do you not?
I do, but my counterpoint to you is going to be this is a defense that didn't do squat every time we played a playoff team. This isn't a good defense. You're acting like we have the 2008, 2004 Pittsburgh Steelers defense out there, when in fact we have the 2023 Pittsburgh defense that isn't a top 10 unit. We have the 2023 unit that gives up the most points, or my bad, the third most points per game in the first quarter. So you're talking worn out in the fourth quarter. These dudes sucked in the first quarter. You're talking about a team that was bottom 10 in yards. I mean, I watched these games, and I know Zoidy said it too, so I'll go to him on this. That defense is nothing but TJ Watt, right, Zoidy?
It does seem to be a one-trick pony, Donkey. And then on top of it, I'm not sure we have the offensive line personnel to run this system. We have a big hole in the center of this offensive line. I mean, we don't have a center right now. We have a
center,
guard,
right guard, left tackle. All
our best run blocker is our right tackle.
Our best run blocker is our tight end who can't catch a football.
Who might be playing right tackle, from what I heard.
That would be pretty sweet, Darnell Washington going into tackle. I'd be down with that. Let's get some tackle eligible plays going. Some old school Pittsburgh Steeler wide receiver throws to offensive linemen. Trick football, Laskers. That'd be kind of fun.
Oh, that'd be really fun. Let's do it.
I like it.
He just needs to eat one more cheeseburger a day, Donkey. I'm telling you, he'll be right tackle size. He does that.
I could believe it. I mean, he's not much smaller than Chuck's right now as it is. Gingy, Zoidy, I really like this idea here because Gingy has a take that this defense is a huge step forward and an elite style one, and I don't think Zoidy's on that page, so I want to give a point counterpoint here since we got a new person in. I want Gingy to give me his best point on what makes this defense good right now.
It's just called
TJ Watt.
I'm going to say pressuring the quarterback.
And now I want Zoidy to come with the counterpoint, but they suck at this.
That is a one-person defense then, because there's one person that can consistently get pressure on the quarterback on this team, and it's TJ Watt.
I agree, as no other Steeler had more than 8 sacks this season.
They do have a pretty good lockdown corner in Porter, but they need another one to really be legit on both sides of the ball. And
Joey Porter Jr. only started half the year, and I believe was like top 10 in terms of penalties against defensive backs. Got some things to work on there.
Well, in this league, you get everybody gets penalties in the air. That's just why you should probably throw the ball deep, to be honest. But who else would you rather have out there right now? Everybody else is just a guy on this team.
I hear you on that. And alleged superstars showed this year they aren't really superstars. I'm looking at Minkah Fitzpatrick. I mean, Gingy, this is a guy we're paying a lot of money for, and he didn't force a single turnover this year. Like, that can't happen, right?
Yeah, that is right. When one side of actually having an identity on one side of the ball is great. I'm still looking for one on offense, but
I'm still looking for one on defense.
They're a bend don't break defense, Donkey. They were good at that for most of the year, and they deserve some credit.
Bend don't break / takeaways. Yeah.
Yeah, they would get takeaways in the red zone too.
Takeaways they
would get daggers. They would get daggers by getting teams to turn the ball over in the end zone.
I hear you on this, and I hear what you're saying. But again, I'm going to go back to this point. They didn't do it against playoff teams. I mean, yeah, we can build a team to beat the little sisters of the injured quarterbacks, but this team's about winning in the playoffs. And these dudes don't get it done against playoff caliber teams. And to me, Arthur Smith signing was one thing, but retaining Terrell Austin told me this team is okay with being mediocre. Laskers, your feel?
That's playoff caliber teams that aren't in the division, because they do own the AFC North.
That's true, they beat division teams.
They own the AFC North, and they've owned it for the last couple of years.
Zoidy is not in here long enough to realize when I say playoff teams, when talking the Steelers, we exclude divisional rivals because division games you know each other so well. So you're fair to say that.
deserve
But when we
credit
say
anywhere. It's how well they
playoff
play their
teams,
own division.
We exclude your own division because your own division is kind of it's a different animal when you play a division game. So this is clearly looking outside the lens, just future reference. But Laskers, your feel on retaining Terrell Austin and essentially the whole defensive staff as it stands?
I'm not feeling it. I mean, defensive staff has not been good.
I mean, look at the plethora of failed draft picks and high draft picks that we've used on defense that never developed. You can go back to Devin Bush. You can add DeMarvin Leal. It's just like these guys don't develop into those studs. And yeah, someone's going to tell me Highsmith, that third-round pick, but we paid Highsmith, and it looks like a bad investment right now. The team decides to keep Larry Ogunjobi. Wow, that's working out really well. It just seems like either the coaches aren't getting the talent out of these players on defense, Gingy. So my fear is going on a run-style first football team, we're just really exposing everything we are because at the end of the day, this bend but don't break stuff just doesn't work against good teams.
Well, Donkey, I guess you're right until it's proven otherwise, but, sounds good in theory, okay? But then I think with the right personnel, you make this work. Again, if you let me go back to Artie Smith, I've proposed, if we get Kenny Pickett if we've got Kenny Pickett and we're going to use him, getting him under center, running that play action, we have no idea how that's going to develop that guy. All right, I see the way that you're talking about it being a possibility of playing out, but Donkey, I think between Jaylen Warren, Najee Harris, getting guys under center, if we're able to at least. Donkey, thinking about how much the offense evolves just using the middle of the field. Can Artie Smith use the middle of the field? That's the question.
I don't know. I don't have faith in him using any weapons. I don't have faith in him developing a quarterback. I think the Steelers, like I said, their offense will be improved. I think they'll be there. But I think they're a team that is hard capped at being at best second best in this division, probably third best in this division. And they're hard capped as a team that we're not going to go to Buffalo and beat Josh Allen. We're not going to go to Kansas City and beat Patrick Mahomes. Maybe we go to Baltimore and beat Lamar, but I don't feel confident about that one at all. I don't see where this team, and the big problem for me is, yeah, Mike Tomlin wins regular season games, but that's never been my problem. My problem is the Steelers are now on their longest playoff drought since they won their first playoff game in the 70s. And no one seems to care. It's, well, we'll give Tomlin a chance, and Tomlin's going to get another coordinator who he can be like, oh, it's his fault. But clearly, it all runs back to one thing. This tired, worn-out run-first system that we hire every year is because it's what Mike Tomlin wants. And I think Art Rooney even moved himself away from this when Art Rooney said, I'm going to have a huge part in the hiring of this next OC. And then 2 days before Arthur Smith is announced, Art Rooney kind of backpedals and says, yo, this decision was Mike Tomlin's. Mike Tomlin makes the decision on who to hire. I think he knew the backlash that was going to happen, and you can see it everywhere. No one's saying Arthur Smith is a bad offensive coordinator. What everyone is saying is the Steelers are hard capped to be a 6-7 seed and do nothing in the playoffs. Because we can talk Artie Smith all we want, but he had arguably the best running back of this generation. And potential Hall of Fame wide receiver in A.J. Brown. And that team just didn't get it done either. I don't know what to say. It feels like the hard cap for a team built this way is one and done.
Hard cap. That's a line that would be very quotable.
My only defense I can give you is actually a head coach defense, and that is what were people saying about? I can't believe the coach, Kansas City's coach before he got Mahomes, Andy Reid. Yeah, they said he couldn't get it done. That he was.
And he did. That's because he didn't. And let's be honest here. People in Philly said that, and people in Philly hate Santa Claus. So taking their words is kind of it is what it is.
There's a reason why Andy Smith can get it done now, though.
It took Andy Reid
because he has the best quarterback in the league. Maybe Pittsburgh is a personnel problem more than a coaching.
You can argue that. I'm not going to disagree with you, but I think it's a style of football that is with the coach in there, because did we win in Ben's prime years? If you want to go back to that, I'll talk to this here.
Yeah, and Whisenhunt was a run-first kind of guy, and he won one of them.
We won in early Ben. The quarterback prime is supposed to be what Patrick Mahomes is getting into now.
Early Ben.
When you still have the physical ability to do it, but you're mature enough to know what's going on. So let's talk 2010 on. The hell did the Steelers do? So it's not like we haven't had the personnel. And the Steelers at one time had arguably the best offense in football, but couldn't get it done.
Not when they were winning Super Bowls, they didn't. They had a quarterback that had 16 completions for about 200 yards and maybe 2 touchdowns and 1 pick.
Yes.
The Steelers won with this Artie Smith style of football, to be honest with you.
When the old school football...
Now, it might be dated now.
It is dated. See, that's the problem, is you want to go back to the wonder years of 2010, but that's not how football's played. Rules have changed since then to benefit passing offenses. That's why passing offenses are up there. The real thing is a passing
the best
offense.
Team in the league going into the playoffs, and they are not a passing offense. They were a run-first
They
offense.
Most certainly were this year. They were a top 10 passing
they could
team.
throw it, yeah.
Every playoff team that made it far had a top 10 passing unit.
When people were criticizing Baltimore when they lost, they weren't saying Baltimore should have thrown the ball more, Donkey. They're saying Jackson should have ran it more. There should have been more design runs with him. He is their run game.
He is, certainly. I don't know what you're talking about, because this year they lost the game because they didn't score enough points. I don't know what anyone was talking about. If you want to talk a great case study, Baltimore is my case study, because when Baltimore had a run-first offensive coordinator, they couldn't do snot in the playoffs. They finally go to a more pass-heavy scheme, and they start advancing in the playoffs. They're the exact thing you didn't want to bring up here if you're making a case for Artie Smith, because they got rid of their Artie Smith, a run-heavy guy, and brought in a more new age, open the offense, throw the ball. They brought in wide receivers in Trey Flowers, Rashad Bateman, back-to-back first-round picks, signed Odell Beckham Jr. That team went out and said, screw it, we know how football's played now, and saw more success throwing the ball. The Baltimore Ravens are the exact reason I hate the hire of Arthur Smith. And it's purely because these run-first teams, Gingy, seem to be hard-capped when they get to the playoffs. But then a team with very similar personnel in Baltimore becomes more of a pass-oriented team, and they finally get to that championship game. Why do the Steelers seem so afraid of modern football, Gingy?
Because we don't have a quarterback, Donkey.
Yeah. Jared Goff was a castaway. Baker Mayfield's a castaway. You're telling me we can't sign a guy like that if they don't think Kenny Pickett can throw the ball? I mean, hell, Baker Mayfield's available right now. He hasn't signed anywhere. Ryan Tannehill, who Zoidie loves to talk, had such a great time with Smith, is available. There are quarterbacks on the market.
That those guys are going to be anything other than a one and done.
The one name I know Zoidie's going to hate it is Kirk Cousins.
There's a guy that can't win a big game as well.
Kirk Cousins is a guy who's going to be out there.
I don't hate it. I don't hate
Russell Wilson's going to be a guy who's going to be out there. Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo. If you don't think you can run a pass-first offense with Kenny Pickett, there are plenty of other options to run a pass-first offense, is what I'm saying, Gingy. The Steelers' reasoning for hiring an old-school, can't-get-it-done type of coordinator shouldn't be because we're afraid we don't have the quarterback. If you don't think you have the quarterback, mortgage the future and go get Caleb Williams. How many teams have done the mortgage the future of the thing and it works out? I mean, it's what you do. It's how football's done now. If you don't think you got the guy, you have to go get the guy. If they don't think they have the guy here, Arthur Smith shouldn't be the answer. The answer should be get the guy who can do it. I'm sorry. If your whole reasoning for hiring someone is, I want to play with the tools I have, that would be like someone taking their damn horse and buggy to a drag race and trying to beat the worst of the cars. They're still going to lose. Laskers, are you back to give anything in on this? Now, Zoidie, your take on that. Why do you think running
guys
the horse
like
and buggy
Patrick
really works?
Mahomes don't grow on trees? They passed on Jackson. A lot of people did, but it seems to have worked out well for Baltimore. It's hard to find a quarterback. Guys like Ben Roethlisberger and Terry Bradshaw come about once every decade and a half in Pittsburgh. And when you get them, you win championships.
But we're excluding the fact that there are plenty of teams who have won with journeyman, quote unquote, quarterbacks in the playoffs. Jared Goff, I know he was a 1 overall pick, but he was a guy most people said shouldn't be starting in this league. Baker Mayfield, same idea. Went out there in a pass first team. C.J. Stroud, a rookie, comes in and lights it up. There's still Joe Burrow, who was out there, another young guy, got it done early in his career. Heck, even Tua came out, and after 2 years, everyone gave up on Tua. He came out and has turned into some pretty good things. And you can say what you want about Miami. They don't lose their 4 best players on defense. That's probably a different story going down in Miami, in South Beach. The fact of the matter is, you can't just use the quarterback as a crutch for why you're playing old school football. That's a broken narrative. Look at all these teams that don't have elite quarterbacks that are doing it. I mean, why can't the Steelers be one of these teams that jumps into the modern era, Zoidie?
Because there's a lot of tradition with Pittsburgh when it comes to being a run-first football team. I believe that narrative is a false one. When they had good offenses and won Super Bowls with those teams, they had Hall of Fame quarterbacks on them.
Yes.
So
they certainly
even
did.
Those good football teams
also made a Super Bowl with Neil O'Donnell.
Weren't run first teams. They had amazing quarterbacks playing at the helm, and it's hard to find those guys.
We also made a Super Bowl with Neil O'Donnell. Don't forget. I think we made a championship game with Cordell Stewart. I would at least like to get to that level. And the argument isn't here to be made that, oh, you need a great quarterback, because obviously you need someone to have a good season to play amazing football. But we've seen quarterbacks go out and get hot. I mean, are you going to tell me Nick Foles is a superstar quarterback?
He was for that playoff run.
See, you can't just change your argument every time. Then any quarterback could be the guy, then, Zoidie.
They can be for 4 guys.
They can be
for 4
1
games.
year.
You know that, Donkey.
Until
you get taped.
That's why I'm
6
saying
games.
Using a damn excuse to say I'm afraid to see if my guy's the guy.
They're the exception that proves the rule, Donkey. Don't act like you don't understand what we're saying. You're not gonna win. You're not gonna be dynastic with a Joe Flacco
if I don't have Patrick Mahomes, I should just mail it in. I shouldn't try.
No.
Then why the hell are we hiring the failed system and not trying?
But okay, look at the 2 teams that are in the Super Bowl this year. What got them there?
Really good.
In fact, you could argue San Francisco's a run-first football team, by the way.
Elite defense on both cases.
Personnel, right?
Yes.
Personnel.
They have elite personnel. In fact, San Francisco is just loaded with all-stars on every level.
That's right.
Right. Cool. I'm talking about.
So you're not looking for a
Patrick
Mahomes, right? They got a Brock Purdy, but they also got a Kittle, and Trent Williamson, and just go down with Ayuk and all the guys on defense, Wagner.
I'm not saying you're going to be the elite team of one team. What I'm saying is, why can't we be a Houston team that doesn't have that top level talent but gets there? Why can't we be Detroit? Why can't we be Tampa Bay? Tell me an elite player on that Tampa Bay team. But that's a team that won their division and won a playoff game. They beat a lot of people's Super Bowl darlings at the beginning of the year in Philadelphia. Hell, Philadelphia 2 years ago. Why can't we beat Philadelphia? They only had one real superstar on their team, and that was A.J. Brown. Why can't we beat Philadelphia? Because we coach scared. We're not willing to take the chance to win. So you're never going to get to be Philadelphia by playing like Tennessee.
Living in your fears, Donkey. Living in your fears.
That's what Mike Tomlin does
Scared
best.
money don't make money,
and that shows right here. It is scared money, and the only reason we hired Arthur Smith is because his daddy owns FedEx, and we just got a discount on packages. I'm sorry. I do think this team's going to be better. I think Arthur Smith is a good coordinator in running football. My biggest problem is, unless we hire a pass game coordinator who's not going to be Arthur Smith, I just don't see how we're successful. I just don't see how this run-first style of football that doesn't utilize new age concepts works. Because what did Arthur Smith have all 5 years he's either been a coordinator or a head coach? He has been top 3 in rushing attempts every year, top 3 in double tight end packages, and bottom 3 in throws to the slot receiver. I just don't see how these old school 1990 style of football teams win. And that's where my problem is, Gingy. I just don't see. The stats everywhere tell you they don't. They haven't for a long time. I can't think of the last team I was going to go out there and said won a championship game with an old school style of football. Like, you have to go back, what? New England and probably like 2014 New England to find that?
The truth is, it's usually elite quarterbacks that win championships, Donkey. You can go through the list if you want, or even play in the big games.
But show me these other teams that made the Super Bowl. How many of them were running teams? I'm talking last 10 years. How many of these other teams that didn't have these elite quarterbacks that made it? Philadelphia 3 times made it without an elite quarterback any of the times. Joe Burrow played out of his mind that year in Cincinnati, but good quarterbacks on rookie contracts are a scary thing. That's why everyone should fear Houston the next couple years.
San Francisco now.
Yeah, that's a team that absolutely is stacked with talent, did it right, and has, in my opinion, the second best offensive head coach in the NFL as their head coach, which ironically is going up against the best offensive head coach in there. The thing is, these guys who do it well with a system that works, a high motion system, a run pass mix system that's more 55-45, either way you want to go about it. A team that has dynamic playmakers on multiple levels, which the Steelers could potentially have, but more importantly, a team that doesn't fear its quarterback making a mistake. Kyle Shanahan, the first thing he said after Brock Purdy threw 3 interceptions, I believe, was, you know what, I'm happy he did it because now he knows what to learn from. That's the type of guy I want. You know that's not going to be Pittsburgh. You have a 3-interception game. You know where you're going to be? On the bench. Ask Mitch Trubisky twice. It's just, I don't know how you convince me that Arthur Smith is a winning championship move. He's a winning football games move, don't get me wrong. His Tennessee Titans, his Atlanta team were pretty good at beating up on really bad teams, but that's another team that when they played playoff teams, just struggled. And it's what it is. And let's not act crazy here, but the Pittsburgh Steelers currently have no one on this roster of coaches who has ever developed a quarterback. Like, let's be honest here. None of these guys
Arthur Smith doesn't seem to be a very good guy at doing such a thing as well.
No. Look at the Desmond Ridder went terrible with him.
Here's another thing to bring up, Donkey. Did they make any changes on their offensive coaching staff other than bringing in Arthur Smith? I believe they're retaining everybody, aren't they?
We retained Meyer. My understand is Faulkner's going to stay. My understand is they feel awkward with Sullivan right now, but they haven't moved on from Sullivan, which if they don't do it soon, there'll be no one there to replace him.
My understanding is they told Sullivan if he doesn't get a job, he's welcome back to Pittsburgh. He's trying to get an offensive coordinator job.
Because all Mike Tomlin's doing is changing the name at the top of the thing to run a new style of Tomlin football. Me and Gingy talked about this earlier, Gingy, didn't we?
Style with play action involved.
At least
brought in a more confident version of Canada. It will be
an NFL offense. I will say it will be an NFL offense. I said this at the beginning. I think he is an upgrade. I just hate what this hiring of Arthur Smith represents, which is we were talking about how Tomlin was going to go get these new ideas, talk to these guys, get these fresh ideas. And at the end of the day, that was just Tomlin pissing at you, but telling you it's raining. I mean, it's garbage to come out here, tell us things are going to change, because he said that changes are going to happen, and then hire a run, pass coordinator, Gingy. And if you really want to see him get flamed, go read some of those Atlanta Falcon threads. Go down to the comment section and see what Falcon fans have to say about Arthur Smith. I believe there was a game Bijan Robinson had 145 yards rushing in the first 3 quarters on 12 carries, and the great, smart Arthur Smith didn't give him the ball a single time in the fourth quarter as they lose a 10-point lead. Like, that's the guy that we brought in. That guy. I understand he had success at Tennessee.
We'll see.
Won't take that away from him. But if I've learned one thing, it's don't judge someone off what they did 10 years ago. Judge them off the last 2, especially in football. Because if I was to judge Mike Tomlin off his career, I'd be like, that dude should be the head coach forever, right? If I'm to judge him off the last 6, I'm probably like, man, that dude should have a short leash, if anything. I don't know, Gingy. I'm nervous about it. Any closing thoughts from Gingy or Zordy here about Arthur Smith coming to Pittsburgh?
I just about talked that one out. There'll be plenty of time more after Super Bowl time to think about that and ponder that, see what kind of rest of the staff goes around.
I think the Steelers largely have a personnel problem. I think the coaching isn't the best, but the truth is they just don't have the players, in my opinion. And on offense, they have not shown that they have the quarterback on this team.
We have 2 second-round wide receivers, a second-round tight end, a first-round running back, a first-round quarterback. I sure as hell think with that draft capital in the last 4 years, you should have better production than you do.
Yeah, they have personnel problems.
They have problems that stem from GM to coach to personnel. I think blaming any one facet of this team is not giving due respect to all of it. I mean, we want to talk about how great Omar Khan is. That's the dude who gave Larry Ogunjobi $10+ million a year. All right? That's the dude who didn't think we needed to replace Dan Moore Jr. That's the dude who traded for Allen Robinson. There's a lot of bad.
Is he the reason that we let Dotson walk?
He is the guy who traded Dotson. That's for sure. And then the coaching problem. Let's be honest here, Zoidy. Saying there's not a coaching problem is a huge, huge lie. Because Dotson looked like he was going to be a stud his rookie year.
I didn't say that.
The second year, we moved him to
primarily
left guard
a personnel
for
problem.
some stupid reason. We moved Dotson to left guard. He struggles. We trade him to the Rams. They move him back to right guard, and he's the second best offensive guard, a Pro Bowl caliber offensive guard all of a sudden.
That year, our best running side was by far the left side, and it was visible to even the common fan that we ran much better.
And everyone wanted to give a lot of the blame to Dotson, but then we put Simualu in there, and the same people were getting beat. But now it's Dan Moore Jr.'s fault, which it probably was Dan Moore Jr.'s fault the whole time because the dude just sucks
it definitely
football.
was. Definitely
all right.
was.
He's a swing tackle that we're playing as a starter.
He's a grocery bagger that we're starting at left tackle. Yeah, that's what Dan Moore Jr. is. Hey, sometimes grocery baggers turn into superstars. Ask Kurt Warner. It doesn't mean anything. I don't know. I guess it's award time. T.J. Watt bringing home a few more Defensive Player of the Awards, not the official one, but he's now won 2 or 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards.
Yeah, what the heck are those?
Dude, I don't know how to tell which ones are the official ones and which ones aren't anymore, because this one said NFL AFC Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know which ones are official or which ones not.
Me neither.
I have some problems with some commentators, though. Mainly, is it Peter King? One of the big guys out there going, well, if you look at this pass rush win rate, Myles Garrett is heads and shoulders above everybody else. But
if
you're going to blame anybody, blame PFF for that.
Zoidy, how the hell do you win a pass rush if you're not hitting the quarterback? Isn't winning the pass rush getting to the quarterback? So how'd you win a pass rush and not get to the quarterback? I'm confused.
By being fat and slow.
Is it some guy who has his hand down his pants, looking at a picture of Myles Garrett going, oh my God, he's my fantasy man, going, I'm going to let him win every pass rush. I don't care if he got stuck. He wins the pass rush. I don't get it. I'm sorry. Stats are stats.
Stats are stats.
At the end of the year,
Standard
someone in 20 years looking at a Hall of Fame resume isn't going to say, wow, Myles Garrett only had 131 sacks, but TJ Watt had 210. Clearly, Myles Garrett was the better pass rusher. Like, in what world? That's like saying, I'm going to sign a baseball player, not based off his ERA, not based off of anything pitching-wise, but how often he throws a strike. Huh? Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Stats are there for you to look at. If you want to look at advanced stats, that's fine. But advanced stats, to be reliable, need to be based in something that is objective and not subjective, like pass rush win rate. Gingy, describe to me a pass rush win.
Well, Donkey, I don't think you want to hear my description.
I do. I certainly do.
Well, because
Zoidie,
my description of a pass rush win is very similar to what some people may refer to as a sack.
Fair. Zoidie, describe to me a pass rush win.
Anybody that goes up against Dan Moore Jr.
Okay, fair enough. Gingy, we talked about it. Do you remember my 3 points to a pass rush win? Just curious.
I don't know.
It's a sack, a quarterback hit, or a holding penalty. So right there, we just asked three people, got three different definitions of what the hell a pass rush win is, which means no one knows what the hell your make-believe stat even measures because it doesn't measure everything. Hell, Binky's still in here. Binky, describe to me a pass rush win. Did he disappear?
Binky don't know. Binky don't know either.
See, that's what I mean. Award season is the dumbest thing ever because it's no longer a statistical importance race. It's a favoritism type of thing. It's a we think Myles Garrett deserves to be talked about all the time thing. It's a we love Micah Parsons thing. And it's a Donkey still pissed off because Antoine Winfield Jr. is the most impactful defensive player in football.
No one wants to hear that crap, Donkey.
I know, because Defensive Player of the Year is Pass Rusher of the Year, and MVP is Quarterback of the Year. Yeah, I know. It's boring. Woo! Yay, award show. Woo! Pop confetti. Poof. Let's go play flag football. Jeez. Zoidie, you got anything you want to talk about?
I'm at a loss here, Donkey. I think you said it all, man.
Gingy, any closing thoughts from you on this fun stuff? Anything going on? Any congratulations to the red teams that you predict properly going to the Super Bowl?
Oh boy, no, just gonna get hyped for that Super Bowl next week. I'll have something to say later on. This is Pro Bowl week. Some good stuff from the skills competition.
Gardner Minshew getting in the Pro Bowl, baby.
Yeah, I seen that.
No, I don't watch football and flags until it goes to the Olympics. Then I'll watch football and flags because that seems kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But neither here nor there. I guess that means we can just go ahead and roll into some shout-out segments. Zoidie's new. Zoidie, anyone you want to give a shout-out to?
Give a shout-out to Laskers for inviting me to this party and then ditching us. Bailing.
Fair enough. Laskers has technical difficulties. Gingy, shout out from you.
Yeah, I'll take a shout out this week. Some of our guys at the Pro Bowl. I saw a very interesting clip from Miles Killebrew in a skills competition to see how many punt balls shot from the jugs that he could catch at one time. I think I saw 7 or 8 in his hands.
Which is 7 or 8 more than little Blondie, who went and returned a touchdown for the Giants, but we won't talk about it.
It's true, but he put one between his knees and then caught like an 8th or a 9th one on top of that. It was pretty impressive. Shout out to those boys going out there and still doing that. You know, for me, Donkey, I remember when the Pro Bowl was actually,
football?
Nothing to sneeze at. Like people,
when it was,
high profile people wanted to go.
when it was actual football played after the Super Bowl, so you got to see the best players from the best teams. Yeah, I know, but now it's about making that money.
I suppose, Donkey, I suppose.
I do have a shout out, and y'all are going to laugh at this, but yo, Arthur Smith, you're new here. I got to give you a shout out. Welcome to the team. You have had success before. I hope you bring it to Pittsburgh, and I hope that it leads to playoff success, because otherwise, man, I ain't gonna be happy. But I ain't gonna drown you before you get here. I'm gonna tell you that I'm disappointed in what the Steelers did, but I wish nothing but success from him, because at the end of the day, I can disagree with what the Steelers do and still be a diehard fan that wants to see them do nothing but win football games, whether or not I like the decisions they're making. But I guess I'll let you know I'm the Viking Donkey. That's Viking_Donkey on Twitch and Twitter, the X that is. Your Daily Dose of Donkey and Ginger is where you get all this fun content. You get special guests I don't even know about, like Zoidy coming in, nailing it, killing it, bringing some love for
Shout out,
the run-heavy offense that Steeler fans know so well. Zoidy, you got anything to say about who you are?
I'm Zoidberg, brother of Donkey over there, and go Steelers.
Yo, it might be negative 20 in my house, in my garage. I have 2 heaters. I'm still freezing, but it is hot. The takes are hot, sucks. And Gingy's going to send it out.
You and Gingy in the house. We hanging out, watching football, chatting it up. Oh, boy. Big changes. Are here.
Run, pass, play action, baby.
Big changes are here. I can't wait
play
to talk
action's
about
back,
it more.
baby.
More next week.
Maybe we could set up a screen too.
Oh, I'm looking to watch a quarterback take a ball from under center. All right, I'm sick of pistol. I'm sick of shotgun. Let me just see somebody go from. But anyway, going back to, we are signing off. Heck yeah, getting ready for Super Bowl week. Just for old time's sake, wave them if you got them. Here we go, Steelers.